All right, hey team, thanks for joining us tonight. It's Monday night, June 18th, and I'm here with all of you and with Meg Johnson. And we just thought tonight we would do maybe kind of an open mic night, just rather than having an agenda or specific training topic, just be available to you. So would love to get started. I think first, Beth, you were so great to put a question out there. So you want to maybe just share with us what you'd like to learn a little more about?
Sure. I guess referrals is what I was asking about. I know you're supposed to start them. Well, first of all, when do you start them? Asking your clients for referrals. What's the best way to ask? How to get them not to share too much, because I've got one client and she keeps saying, I know nobody can afford it. And I keep saying, don't say that. So I don't know how to tell her, I mean, I've told her what to say, but she's not saying what I tell her to say. And then I sent the referral letters. Do you send them more than once? This kind of general questions about referrals.
Yeah. Meg, this is something that you've mastered really well on how to talk to your clients about referrals and even using the opportunity to potentially offer coaching as well. So you want to start us off?
Sure. Can y'all hear me? Okay, awesome. So I found that it helps to start referrals as early as possible, because we know that people are going to have a great experience, right? And we know they're going to want to talk to their friends about it. So the earlier you can talk about it, the better. And I found, and Dee, you did this with me, the more you can equip them with what to say so that they don't say the wrong thing without kind of making that awkward and saying, wait, don't talk about meal replacement. So I remember with Dee, she just kind of said, hey, I know it can be sometimes awkward and cumbersome to explain how the whole program works. So if you know of somebody that this would rock their world, like, I'd love if you just connected us and I'll take care of the heavy lifting. You just let me know, like maybe start a 3-way text. That's worked really well in the past, or give them my telephone number, or even better yet, give me their telephone number, because we all know there's a big barrier to entry. It's so hard to pick up the phone and ask for help. So the more we can help people with that, the better off everybody's going to be. So giving them the right words. And also, it's really helped me to let people know that I have a referral policy. So if you refer somebody to me to help me grow my business, I'll send you $25. And for you, it doesn't have to be $25. You can decide $10 or whatever it is that you want to do. But letting them know that there is an incentive and inviting them to help participate in that way has been really helpful for me.
Meg, do you send anything in writing to your clients, or do you do it primarily verbally?
Primarily, I do it verbally. And then whenever they send somebody to me, I send them a thank you note in writing that just says, again, thank you so much. Here's $25. Thank you for helping me grow my business.
Are you giving them $25 on their account, like off their next order?
Yeah, cash on account.
So how quickly in the process so I know you said as early as possible. So what might be a scenario that you might bring it up to somebody?
Well, I always, whenever I'm doing a share call to begin with, when they tell me they want to sign up, I'll say, hey, so is there anybody else in your world that might want to join you in this? And a lot of times people are like, well, yeah, I know somebody that I've been talking about doing this with. So that's one way. Another is after the first week when they have stellar results, because a lot of times people they may not necessarily want to refer right away, but the first week, they've lost a great amount and they're getting excited and their excitement's ramping up. So that seems to be a great way to reach out and see who else is in their world. And what we are hearing a lot of other teams around the country are doing is, if you've got somebody that's had a great stellar week and you're trying to build your business, ask them if you could help them put together some wording, and they might do a Facebook post where they're excited about their weight loss. And that could be a good natural way for you to also grow your business as well.
Yeah, I love that. I think that, and it's so funny because those are exact words that I always use is let me do the heavy lifting for you. I'll do that with potential coach explorers as well. Some of the things that I'll say, I really absorb what the people ahead of me that are doing so well, just like Meg said, with the, for a while, I used to skip that question that said, is there anybody in your world that would want to do this with you? And I realized that was a big mistake because I ask it all the time now. And even if they don't say yes at that time, it's that immediate way that we're starting to get them to think beyond themselves. So it's a beautiful question to have there and ask. And just like Meg said, if they say, well, maybe my mother or whatever, I write that down. And then that's going to be a follow-up question for down the road. Did you ever talk to your mom, or would you like me to give your mom a call? So I think that is good. And then I think it's a Dan Valentine thing. I say it at the end of every call now when they say yes. I'll say, they're signing up. I give it the, oh, you know what? Hey, one more thing. I just want you to know when you start to melt away, when you get into this, two things are going to happen. The people, you're going to start to notice the people around you that can use this, that would benefit. And then the people around you are going to notice what you're doing. So we'll talk at that point about what our referral policy is, or you may even want to coach them at some point. And that's how you plant that first seed about coaching. So to answer the question, it's ASAP. And then just like Meg said, I will say, especially like by second week when they're in the happy place, that's when they really want to be excited about it. So I'll ask them, like, who's noticing? And then I say, what are you saying? What are you telling them? Because I have a great example of someone that she said, oh, she was at the bus stop and she didn't know what to say. And she said, oh, I was just telling them that I'm eating healthy and drinking a lot of water. And I said, well, that really doesn't help them because nobody really knows what eating healthy is. I said, Jana, you're following a health program. You're working with a coach. And I said, that's what you want to tell people. And then I always ask people, what are you loving most about the program? And they'll say the convenience, or I love how easy it is, or I love the results. And I'll say, that's what you tell people. When people ask you what you're doing, you say, I found a great program. It is so easy. That's it. How about you, Zena? You have a lot of referrals come your way. You're muted.
For me, I have jump-started, from the referrals now ever since it's been about coaching. And now when I'm talking to somebody, I'm right away, rather even than who do you know that might be interested, or how's your wife doing, or how's your husband, or they need any kind of weight loss or whatever. I mean, I just learned this from all of you guys about, I'm jumping into, you know what? You're going to be a great coach one day. Have you thought about you coaching yourself, because all the people So I'm right now, that's where I'm like, I've jump started to that because I learned, I never was thinking about that. And then, so when do you start to say something about somebody else as a client? Now I know as soon as I start somebody, I'm going to start talking about coaching. And so that's where I'm at right now. But, just ask the questions. I find just asking the question, who's noticing everything that you've all said, so that's what I do. I just, and like you all hear me say, if anybody looks at me sideways, they're going to get it, the whole story. But what I want to ask for someone who's new, when they want to talk about it, rather than say what the name of the program is. So if somebody can or somebody say, how do you approach that? Because that's a big thing that I'd like to be clear for everyone.
Meg, you want to take that?
Sure. And basically, I always go back to when I was brand new with the program and how it was presented to me. And I know myself, and I know if somebody, if Dee, when she talked to me about the program, said, yeah, it's called Optavia, just look it up on the website, and let's talk about it, I would have been stuck. I never would have moved forward in my health. So I try, not because I'm ashamed of the name of the program, but I always try to remember my old self And I don't want to give anybody a barrier to get to know who we are or what our heartbeat is, right? And that is to lead people to health, to give them the tools to stay healthy for life. So I will a lot of times say, hey, I would love to tell you about the health program. It changed my world. It's changing so many other people's world. When is a good time to chat? Or when can we get on the phone? And I always bring them to the phone. And on the phone, I'm so happy to talk about Optavia. That's really when I start to engage with them and figure out why they want to lose weight, what it would do for them. And I go through that health assessment pretty much line by line and awaken them to that desire. Now we do have people from time to time that are like, yeah, whatever. Just tell me the name of the program, right? We all have heard that before. So there are a bunch of different approaches to that. Some of the things that I've heard before that have been super great have been, it's a healthy habit program. That's something that Amber Smithson says. It's called the Healthy Habit Program. Would love to talk to you more about it and let you know. Another thing is, well, we've got a couple of different programs. I'd love to talk to you first to figure out which program would be best for you. It's a completely true statement. We do have several different programs. So you don't have to tell them exactly, don't tell them all of the details. They don't need to know everything before you get them to the phone. So bring them to that phone call. And I just want to tell you, you're not doing that because you're trying to be deceptive. You're not doing that because you're trying to hide or be ashamed of the program, the name of the program. You're doing that because it's in their best interest. Because in order to help move them forward in their own health, sometimes they need to, less is more, right? So I just go back to thinking about my own self and my skeptical nature, and that would have really kept me from getting healthy.
And I think the same applies, with the specific question you had around what do you say to your client so that they don't say the name of the program, or what Beth said where they're saying, talking about the fuel lanes or talking about the cost. I will be pretty direct with the clients and just say, you know what, the less is more when you're talking to somebody new about the program. Best thing is just let them know what you love, that it's just been an incredible experience, and their best bet is just to talk to me about it. And if you could do a 3-way text, and if you find out that they're all saying no because of the money or whatever, I would say, you know what, maybe not talk to them about the money. Let me handle that piece for them, and again, you can only do so much if they keep doing it, but if you can try to maybe show it why that's not working, why what they're doing is not working, because I'm sure they want to get help their friends and family get healthy. So hopefully they'll be open to some suggestions around it. To answer your question, Beth, about the referral information, I can post the link in our Facebook group, but there is, they have it in Optavia Coach Answers now, a thing that you can send, copy and paste either as a text or an email. I do delete the Optavia Coach part. It just says let them know you're working with a coach. I just put that. But I send it once. I'll send it once, usually about 10 days, 14 days into it. And then if I have a verbal conversation with somebody and then I can tell that they don't know what to say, I'll say, hey, I'm going to resend that to you. I'll send it to you via text, or I'll send it to you via email. And as soon as we hang up, then I'll send it to them again. But I won't just keep sending it to them unless we've had a conversation and I feel like they're not getting it. Anything else around that? All right, awesome. Awesome. Thank you. What else? Questions about anything about the Shed and Shred, the 28-day challenge, how that can be, yes.
Okay, so we're going to put them into our Facebook page. What if they don't become a client? Do we take them out after the 28 days?
I mean, ideally, probably yes. I mean, if we don't want it to get too clogged up with people that aren't clients on the program, there's pros and cons. I know some coach groups that do allow candidates to stay in there. I would say just kind of play it by ear who you have. I think the biggest key is during the 4 weeks to be coaching them like they are a client. Give them the weekly call, find out what's working well for them, make sure they're plugging into the weekly Habits of Health call, and then really using that opportunity over those 4 weeks to expose them, especially what other people in the challenge are experiencing in terms of weight loss. See if there's frustration there. They really want to be modeling why embracing it all could be to their benefit. And I think before I took them out, I would probably give a final call at the end. What'd you think? What do you love about our group? Would love to keep you in, but that really means embracing, all that we have to offer. What are you thinking at this point? So, all in their best interest, of course, because we know that they're going to get their best results for the long term if they stay with us.
Okay. Thank you.
One suggestion I was going to have around that, and it's funny, I put these things out there and then I catch myself. I'm like, holy cow, I can't believe I just did that. But I've done a couple posts about the Shed and Shred, sharing the event link, and I also did an email to people. I've been private messaging it to specific people I think would be interested. I've called people. But the one thing I had not done, other than some people had verbally said, yes, I'd like to learn more, or they messaged back, I'd like to learn more. But I had not gone back and checked who had indicated they were going or who had indicated they were interested. And I had people in there that I needed to reach out to today because I wasn't paying attention. And so they had seen, they saw it and indicated that they were interested. So my advice around that would be just periodically check that this week, maybe even daily. Just go in and look at who's indicated they're interested, who's indicated that they're going, and see if it's potentially, the person that you're connected with that saw it from what you are offering.
Yeah, I will say, I went through the interested today and I saw somebody, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. So I thank you for reminding me. I need to follow up with her. So
yeah,
I was shocked that she was interested. So
yeah, me too. I mean, I had this guy who did work on our house 2 years ago, and I was like, whoa, I didn't see that one coming. So yeah, you never know who's watching and looking.
Thank you for the reminder.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the other comments on the thing was how to grow your business. So talked about that. So what do you suggest? What's the best way?
I just want to see what right now. I think Joni might be asking a question before we shift gears here. Yes, Joni, for the 28-day Shed and Shred, if somebody says yes, they want to participate and they want to embrace the full program, we sign them up just like a regular new client and order them the 30-day kit. Correct. So how to grow your business without being that person. So Meg, you're the expert.
Yeah, so I think, referrals obviously are a great way to go about it, like we already talked about. But another is living your life out loud, right? Which we see Zena do all the time. She's doing it in supermarkets. You can't get within a square mile of Zena and know what's going on and how Optavia has changed her world. So that's been a big one for me personally, is just being willing to share my own story. But another big one is showing up on social media. So if you just took a whole bag of clothes to Goodwill, hey, that would be a great Facebook post. Certainly following the 3, 3, and 3, or just being mindful of hey, how could I use my story to help maybe inspire somebody else in their own health, and get them to take the next step, whether it's Optavia or whether it's putting the candy bar down, whatever the case may be, right? But I think living your life and your health out loud is a big one. And just kind of having those wheels turn in. I mean, being on these calls is certainly a great way to get your pulse on what's going on in the organization. I know for me, the 28-day challenge, which we did last year, that was one of the first ways that my business really started booming. So that was a great thing. So actually engaging in some of these opportunities is a big one. And those are that's the big thing that's on my mind. And for me, the more vulnerable I can be on Facebook, the more people are going to connect with my story. And also a Facebook Live. If you are willing to go there, man, I got to turn my phone off every time I do a Facebook Live because it just gets people interested. It's the way that people are connecting with us. So those are just a couple of things that I'm thinking about. Dee, what else do you add to that?
I think that it is, in addition to what you've said, I think it's all about consistency, being consistent out there, but being consistent with a diverse diverse information, if we just keep slapping before and afters, before and afters, before and afters, people become numb to them. And I even heard somebody at our event on Friday night, they said they were actually looking at them thinking these were some skeptics, like who eventually became raving fans, but they were looking at them thinking, like, that can't be real. Like, that can't be real, you know? And so some people just become numb to it. So I think my goal was, and what has worked well, and I just share because all I know is what I know, is that I want to be in a position that anybody who looked at my social media, or hopefully anybody who thinks of me, just thinks about me as this healthy person who cares, that's sharing inspiration, motivation, health tips, and before and afters, you know, as well as my life intermingling. You know, what I find almost over time it gets hard is that I feel like my life, it's so cool that it gets so integrated, you hardly know what to post that's not related to business. And I mean that in a good way. It's just like everything is just, it's not like I have this distinction between work and pleasure and whatever. It's just like all good, you know? So, but I try to put that out there. But I think having a variety of social media posts, from some motivational things, recipes, but put your personal, I find that I've actually, even the Synduit stuff that I've done, I now like will take it down or modify it and repost it, because it needs to have your flair, your language, or, hey, I'm really struggling with this. I found this helpful today, if it's an inspirational thing. Like Meg said, it's about human connection. So the more we can do around that, the better. And then again, the same thing, just kind of being real. My other big thing is show up and go to things even when you don't feel like it, to get around people. Like, for example, we had hopefully nobody's affiliated with where we went last night, but we had a party that we were invited to, and it was on Father's Day, you know, and it was like from 7 to 10, and we didn't necessarily want to go. We were actually really glad once we got there, because I got to connect with somebody I hadn't seen in a long time. But just accept your invitations. Just get out there, be social, and get out with different groups of people, and then not be afraid to, you know, let people know what you're excited about in terms of your business is going great or whatever. And, you know, talk big about, you know, we're helping a lot of people. Zena.
So, you know, I always heard about what I've been doing is looking through my contacts and thinking about who's on my heart and who could really benefit. And I really stop and think about this. And there have been 3 people just recently that just from my contact list that I have not seen or talked to in years, and touch base. And I said, and when I spoke to them, I said, you know, one person was saying, well, I'm just doing a certain diet right now. And, you know, I said, I'm so happy that they're taking care of themselves and getting healthy, but just keep it in the back of your mind. If anything should happen, if you should get it at a standstill, just remember this, and just let me just plant this seed with you that I'm here and you can call me. 3 people through that type of communication has just contacted me and started like that. I mean, that's stuff I've learned from everything in our learnings and our calls and everything. And, you know, just people that I have thought about in my heart. So that really works.
I love that, Zena. That is so true. I can't tell you how many people, when you write their name down, something happens. Mm-hmm. And it is so cool to be able to watch. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah. And even, exactly. I love that, writing it down. And I am learning a lot through some coaching I'm getting on connection, is listening to that gut instinct. Like, something told you I need to reach out. Have you ever had that? You're driving, you're like, somebody pops in your head and you're like, like, they asked me about the program once. Like, I wonder where they are. Call them. Like, that intuition, I don't even know how you just define that, but go with those impressions. I have been acting on them, and some incredible things have been happening. And I called somebody today, and I just said, Vicki, we had talked about coaching a long time ago, but I was like, I wasn't even calling her really about coaching. I was just like, Vicki, you keep coming to my mind. I just wanted to give you a call and see what's going on. It turned out she's between jobs. I was able to, she was really worried about health insurance. I was able to connect her with somebody around health insurance and stuff. That might be the reason she was on my heart, you know, but we are going to get together for coffee and whatnot. But I was just glad that I reached. I think if we can just think of ourselves as just resources for people, acting on those impressions is important.
I took someone to lunch the other day who I used to go to Weight Watchers with, and we never lost any weight for a whole entire summer. And everyone said, no, 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 never. This person's not going to do it. Well, we talked, and this person is doing some kind of a weight thing that's a lot of trouble and a lot of cooking and a lot of everything that is a big deal. And she asked me for my card. You know what? Give me your card. I said, if this stops working for you, I'm here and you're going to be amazed. And everybody listen, because when I come back and tell you that that person started, this is the one I'm talking about that's happening. Definitely.
Well, Meg, you always have a great line, what you say to people about, you know, that you're rooting for them. Like if they choose not to start now, how do you say that to people?
Yeah, so if anybody ever tells me no or not now or doing something else, I say, hey, that's great. I'm going to be rooting for you regardless of what you choose. And so that just tells them, hey, my door is always open, because no matter what you're doing, I'm still doing this and I'm going to be here. So whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, next year, just call me. I'll be here for you. And I want them to be successful. And that is my heart, you know, whatever they choose to do, I do hope that they get successful.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I love that. I say that too, or I'll say, hey, I'm not going anywhere. You know, I'll be here. I'll be here. So we want to take just a minute. Meg, did you want to talk a little bit, just because I know you've had some questions just come up recently. You've been growing a team rapidly about, you know, just working as an independent contractor and being a 1099, how that's different than, you know, for our taxes and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we say anything, we just want to tell you we are not tax professionals, right? So anything we say, take it with a grain of salt. We recommend you talk to tax professionals. But in a prior job, I worked in financial services, so I do have a heart for helping people with money. And so Dee and I were just talking earlier today about just the business and how things work. So we wanted you to know, number one, that you are a coach with Optavia. You are a 1099 independent contractor, which is awesome. What that means is they're not going to take any taxes out of your paycheck. So those paychecks you get every Wednesday are going to be, they're not going to have any tax out of that. And in fact, they're not allowed to take tax out of that. So it would be really wise for you to talk to your tax accountant about what is deductible and how much you should be setting aside, so that when tax day comes, you'll have enough. Or maybe you might even want to start making quarterly estimated tax payments. There are so many different things that can be a deductible business expense, like your coach kit and your certification exam and taking somebody to coffee, whatever. So all of those, so much, I am taking all my receipts, taking pictures on my phone and sending it to myself so that I can keep track of things for tax purposes. But yeah, we really wanted to recommend that you talk to a tax professional for all of the nitty-gritty details, but just wanted to kind of throw that out there and let you know that you are a 1099 contractor.
Yeah, it's real important. And like I said, we can't really say, you know, what's deductible, what's not. You can do a little internet research yourself regarding 1099 and self-employment. There are a lot of advantages to it. And even things like the travel we might do for conferences and things like that, like can all fall into those categories. There is a great spreadsheet on in our file section of our coach page that is great for a model of categories of things that are deductible that, you know, that we have used and somebody ahead of us in our organization has used that was shared with us, as well as being able to track your business. I think as independent business owners, we really want to track on a, you know, 3-month rolling basis, 6-month rolling, 12-month rolling, where our business is going. So that if you have a down month, it's really easy to see perspective, like, hey, but I'm still growing. And we know with self-employment that, you know, there's peaks and valleys, and sometimes those valleys we can go like, phew, spiraling down. So keeping good records is a way that we can help keep perspective, and then working with your mentors as well as your financial advisors around the financial piece. So we just wanted to put that out there, and I'll also tag regarding that spreadsheet because it's a really great tool. So we're coming up on our 30 minutes. Thank you guys for investing in yourself to be here. Just a reminder, convention is just 30 days away from now. So you can go ahead and register for that. I know, woo-woo. And to be recognized at convention, if you've met a ranking that would be of worth recognition, you do have to be registered in their system by June 30th. And so we're starting to get all kinds of information, but lots and lots of people register in this last 30 days. So we would love for you guys to join us and really see what's possible for yourself. So otherwise, thank you, Meg Johnson, for co-hosting. Fantastic, great information. Appreciate you. Appreciate every single one of you guys. And we'll see you next week. Thanks.